Hello and welcome back to another video brought to you by MMO Play. Today we're taking a look at the newly released expansion for StarCraft 2, Heart of the Swarm, one of my more anticipated games of the year. I'm going to briefly look at just some of the mechanics in the single-player campaign. I'm not going to actually look at a campaign mission, because the gameplay and the missions themselves are either story-driven, and we don't want to spoil the game for anyone, or it's very much like Ladder, which we'll look at some gameplay, actually training games, but this is one of the two progression systems. You have the little pool down here with this guy who can morph your different units. You can kind of upgrade them all however you want, kind of like what was in StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty, only there's also something else too. You have a main character, which we're going to look at Kerrigan's progression soon. But this is the first little conversation with him, and he's kind of explaining where you're at, why you're here, and yeah, don't touch Kerrigan. This is the guy that actually probably formed her when she went Zerg. Now that she's human again, she might be still kind of hacked off and fighting, but she doesn't want anything to do with him unless she has to. So for now, all we have is the Zergling. This is the first mission. You can see I have 3 different upgrades to choose from. You can change them however you want. So you can mutate you guys however you want. You can have Zergling speed, Zergling hit points, and Zergling attack speed. At this point, I decided to go with run speed because I played a lot of Ladder a long time ago, and run speed, mobility, that's the king of the lings. The problem is, in the campaign, it's actually almost better, at least for me so far, to either have hit points if you want them to tank a little bit and to absorb things like Immortals, or to maybe give them an extra attack speed so they can actually kill stuff faster. With how often they attack, 50% attack speed, increased damage, upgrades, makes them really beefy, or well, really damaging, not beefy. They're not very beefy. But I've actually been mostly focusing on Roach Hydra, which is a little later, actually not too much later into the campaign. And this is just going to be more conversation between them. So this is basically, you can come here with every unit you unlock throughout the campaign. You'll get more basically after every mission. You can come and customize however you want. If you find you're wanting fast lings to do counterattacks and you have them, you can switch them. You're not committed to anything, so really nice. The next we need to look at is Kerrigan. She is an integral part to the gameplay and the story of the campaign. This is not like StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty, where occasionally you have a hero to control. You're pretty much doing the story of, I'm guessing, the fall of Kerrigan. I'm not very far in, and even if I was, I wouldn't be spoiling it. But Kerrigan is forced into a position where she's having to go ahead and control the Zerg again. As you're playing each mission, you're going to notice that some of the rewards are Kerrigan gains 5 levels, or 1 level, or whatever. And there's also extra missions, or little achievements you can get in them that can give extra levels. When you get enough levels, you can unlock a new tier, you can give her a new ability. Much like the mutations, you can switch them however you want. Right now, I only have the 2 basics and then 1 more, and it's just another way of customizing. So there is a progression system for both your units and for Kerrigan, and you do have this Leviathan ship, kind of like the Hyperion in Wings of Liberty. Now let's go ahead and look at BattleNet. So BattleNet has gotten a major overhaul in this expansion. You can see it's a lot more streamlined and a lot more options. We have the arcade mode, which is relatively new. A lot of people are probably playing in the beta for a while. Kind of were waiting for launch because I was really excited about the campaign. But you can see arcade mode is basically your custom games for StarCraft 1 players, use map settings. You have custom games you can do versus co-op. You can see what games are available. There's a rating system. You can rate maps. You can offer feedback. So all kinds of just good ideas in there. You can see popular streaming. A lot more space on the screen. Doesn't look as busy anymore. The chat window, which I actually didn't join the chat, is not as bad as it used to be. So overall, BattleNet 2.0 is a lot better than it was when it came out in 2010. You can see here we're actually looking at matchmaking. You have different options. There's even unranked games. If you want to play melee games and you want to do matchmaking, but you don't want to deal with the stress of the ladder, just play unranked. So much more casual friendly. You're going to see that one pop up a few times. It's bound to a key you like to use. You also have versus AI. I'm going to do a training match just to show new players one thing you can do to kind of improve if you're on the fence about purchasing this game. By the way, the game's available for $40 or $60 for Digital Deluxe. You can get it at most distributors and, of course, Blizzard. They do have the digital version. I believe there's a collector's edition too. Didn't look too much into that, though. So you can see this is the stage 1 of the training. It just teaches you the basics. It's going to kind of, I would almost say, give you a build order. It's going to have a series of objectives to complete throughout the mission, and as you complete them, you're going to get new ones. So I guess you could call this a build order. It's telling me when to build drones, how many to build, when to expand, but it's also limiting my gameplay, so you're learning things gradually. I'm not really worried about, do I want to make a lair, do I want to go Hydra or Mutalisk? At this point, also, it does start on the slower speeds. By default, if you hit plus a few times, it'll go to faster. It's just the way I'm used to playing. I'm pretty much, most people play like that. It seems slow, though. It seems like this isn't as fast as I remember it being, but this is the fastest I could get to go. Now, one thing I'm trying to do at this point is I'm trying to think about spreading my drones out so they're getting to all the mineral patches, trying to get them to go on the close mineral patches, maybe double them up on those. Those are all little tips for getting in more efficient mining, not really showing off the gameplay, though. And really, most RTS, StarCraft is no exception. The faster you play, the more you could do, the better you can play. Doesn't mean that speed is king, although there is a point where you just can't get any better until you're fast enough. I'm not that fast of a player. When I was practicing it a lot a year or two ago, it would show my APM around 60 to 100. I'm probably playing at about half that speed right now, so. And that would get you, or at least got me, into the Diamond League. That was before Masters existed. Don't know if that's a thing. If you'd like to see some ladder maps, ladder game, maybe try to make a push towards Masters, let us know. Might be something to look forward to in the future. For now, we're just kind of following the tutorial, learning some basics how to play, and also showing that there are more options for new players to learn. This isn't going to be the equivalent of watching really in-depth pro analysis or some popular commentators that do a show every day, but it's going to be a starting place for new people that are wanting to get into the game. Between that and the fact that there are unranked games, so you don't have the same kind of stress that you would under a ranked ladder game, it's probably going to be a lot more casual friendly. That, and if you're really struggling, they also redistributed the ladder breakdowns. Only the bottom 8% are in the Bronze League. That means if you're really new and really struggling to the game, you're only playing with the lowest 8% of the people. You'll be a lot less likely to get geared up against someone that kind of knows what they're doing. So it gives you a little bit more time to learn and play. If you are interested in getting better at the game, the best thing you could do is just practice and research. This is a pure strategy game. There is not much in the way of luck to it, other than maybe picking a certain build order that trumps another one. But for the most part, it's a lot like chess. It's all about just playing right, playing better, and eventually playing faster, which also involves muscle memory, which means playing more often too. The things like timings, build orders, decision-making, all that comes from researching and learning the game. But most players can get just better by just getting to the point where they don't forget things. If you're playing Zerg, just keep the queens injecting, keep making overlords, make sure you have enough drones. If you do that, you'll be better than most people in the world. You won't be a pro just from that, but you'll probably get to gold, platinum, diamond without too much trouble. So you can see the objectives are changing as I'm completing the game, and eventually I'm gonna go for 3 base Roach. No, I'm just messing around, honestly. Really don't need much. This is a low difficulty computer. It gets quite a bit harder if you set the difficulty up. I'm just going with a training game because I just want to show some of the new options in the battle ladder. I'm actually not showing off a ladder game itself. You can see another thing that's new is the harvester counter. If you have a hatchery selected, it'll tell you how many guys are there. Nice. So no longer having to box and count, you can actually just see, alright, I want to have 20 drones per base, plus the 3 on each extractor. I can just look at the numbers, and there, I got all the info I want. I don't have to do anything else. One other thing that's new and really handy is one of the hardest things there was, for me at least, was kind of the pressure of getting ready to do that opening split, where I grab my drones, throw them at the minerals, and then take half of them and throw them a different mineral patch. That's actually one of the things that seems like It would separate a good player from a bad player, but it's really not that big of a deal. It's just kind of a way of showing off. It make a difference of maybe 5 or 10 minerals over the course of the game if you got a better split. But they took it out. All the drones will automatically just go to mineral patches now. You don't have to... Well, in the first 5 or 6. You don't have to manually split them anymore. So you can kind of just get into the game, click on your thing, in my case, hit SD, summon drones, or spawn drone. And then do that over and over and over again, because I gotta try to get 9 drones as fast as possible. Some other changes is there are new units, which we might look at in the future if we look at latter games. Zerg got the Viper, which is another caster, and not to mention we also have a, not quite a lurker, but we got a guy that'll go underneath and spawn broodlings, really, really nasty broodlings. Protoss got some changes. Everyone's got a couple new units. It's not drastic, not going to be huge. From what I was seeing from higher end play, gameplay is fairly similar. The only one that's a little different is the Terrans morph on their Hellions can make them a little beefier, so you have to deal with certain things. Not to mention the Widow Mines can get really nasty. And Sky Toss is much more prevalent than it used to be. But for the most part, the gameplay and the game style is fairly similar. It's nothing sweeping. I wouldn't even go as far as to say it's as different as StarCraft or Brood War was. Here you can see I'm making some Ling way too late. This was a player to already be dead. Building up and just kind of completing the objectives of the mission. It's going to kind of guide me towards making 60 drones, getting 3 hatcheries, having a queen at every hatchery, building roaches, and then getting 50 units, or is it 50 supply worth of army, and then going to kill the enemy. Fairly straightforward, but it's a way to introduce the game. It has them for all 3 races. It has multiple different training modules, I guess you'd call it, for learning all the basics for gameplay. So if you have liked StarCraft in the past but were nervous about the difficulty and skill cap of the game, I wouldn't say it's easy, but I'd say it's a lot more casual friendly, a lot better at teaching new players how to play and kind of grouping the newest and slowest and weakest players together so you can have a chance to build up. If you like the content, stay tuned to more from MMO Play. If you want to see any more StarCraft 2, let us know. And go check out the game. Tons of fun if you're a fan of RTS. Thanks for watching, and that computer is so dead. Although it's not much to brag about.